Hey guys, you guys have been asking questions about my service dog and service dogs in general, so we are going to answer a few questions for you. I am here with Amanda, my very good friend, and Oliver's trainer. You want to say hi to the world?
Hi, vlog.
You guys have met her before, just a few days ago and in vlogs past when Oliver was staying with them. So we are back visiting in Chicago now, and so we get to catch up with Amanda and her family. And Oliver is so happy to be back in the home he spent so many months in while we were in Scotland. So here are some questions you guys have asked, and here are the answers. Why do you have a service dog? I was born with cystic fibrosis. It's a genetic lung disease, and as my disease has progressed throughout the years, Peter and I talked about what would be a good next step to help me through those really hard days or when I get in a coughing fit or whatever it is, and we came up with a service dog.
So Mary has Oliver because of cystic fibrosis, but many people have service dogs for many different reasons, whether it be because they're visually impaired, hearing impaired, or they are autistic, or they have seizures. There are so many different kinds of service dogs out there.
How did you get your service dog? When Peter and I started looking into the option of a service dog, we talked with multiple different service dog organizations, and what we were being told is that the waiting list is often around 4 or 5 years. And the reason that the waiting list was so long for me because I needed a dog that was big enough for mobility work and doesn't shed. And that's kind of rare in the service dog world. So when they told us the waiting list, they recommended that we might start the process ourselves. So we were looking for a candidate for service dog work, and that's when we found Oliver. And so we got him and started his puppy raising and just basic training we got him when he was 4 months old, and that's how we got Ollie.
So one of the only types of dogs that would work for Mary would be a standard poodle. Oliver is a standard poodle. He is large enough for mobility and for her to brace against when she coughs, but he won't shed, but highly intelligent and can pick up minute tasks very quickly. So you got him from a breeder.
Yes.
And that sped along that 4 to 5 year process.
Yeah. What kind of dog is he? He's a standard poodle! So many people just think he is awesome and adorable, and I agree, but almost nobody guesses that he's a standard poodle.
Mostly because you don't cut him like a poodle. The frou-frou, the poof-poof, the naked face.
This is how Ollie prefers his hair, and I agree with him. I like it this way.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of times people think he might be an Airedale, a Labradoodle, a Golden Doodle. What else?
Any doodle.
Yeah. But he is just a plain old standard poodle.
And by the way, this type of cut is called a puppy cut.
There you go. How does he help you? Some mobility assistance dogs are helpful if the person needs help with balancing. For me, it is not a balancing issue, it is a lung strength issue. So because of cystic fibrosis, my lungs are weaker. So as you can imagine, walking long distances, walking upstairs, that sort of thing is harder for me, for my body, and because my lungs are weaker. So Oliver, I'll insert a picture of his harness, but his harness has a handle on it so that I can hold on to it when we're walking, and he can give me forward momentum. And when I start coughing really hard, I can hold on to him. He braces in front of me, and I can hold on to him. Because if I'm in the middle of a store and I start coughing really hard, I'm either having to hold on to the clothing rack beside me or sit down in the middle of the store. Neither are good options. So Oliver is there so that I can hold on to him, and he will help hold me up.
Can you talk about why you need to brace when you cough?
Yeah, so when I'm coughing really hard, it takes a lot out of me. My whole body, all my muscles are coughing really, really hard. And so I'm not able to see or hear very well while I'm doing that because I'm hunched over, I guess. Is that a good description? And I'm trying to hold myself up because I'm hunched over coughing. So when I can hold on to Oliver, it just gives me support so that my body can finish its hard coughing fit, and then I can sit up, breathe a little bit, and then we can continue walking.
There aren't very many service dogs specifically for cystic fibrosis that we are aware of. So in some ways we're tailoring Oliver's training specifically to what Mary needed or anticipates that she'll need in the future. So some of the things that I helped to work on when he was here with me for 8 months were carrying a basket, getting anything that we pointed to, him getting comfortable with putting all different textures in his mouth, from something made of wood to made of plastic to made of cardboard to made of metal, car keys, all of those things he needs to be comfortable getting and then giving to her without a delay. We worked on that for a while. Mary has hypoglycemia, and so one of the things that we wanted to train Oliver for was to alert to low blood sugar. Mary's blood sugar doesn't spike, so he's not technically a diabetic service alert dog because he needed to go both ways. But for hypoglycemia, we wanted to make sure he could alert Mary if her blood sugar was dropping. It happens that my father has type 1 diabetes. So the way that you train a service dog for diabetic alert, they smell it through the person's saliva. So I asked my father to test his blood sugar, and when it was about 70, I asked him to suck on cotton balls and coat them in his saliva, and then he would freeze them for me and give them to me. And I would take those samples and hide them places, and Oliver learned what that smelled like and that he got a big reward every time he would alert me to that. So I was able to train Oliver to alert for low blood sugar, and the way he does that is to put a paw on a knee. So ideally you could ask him to test, blow in his mouth, to have him sniff your saliva, and then he would put his paw on if your blood sugar is low. And we were able to test that out with my dad a couple of times, which worked out well enough. Also, in training Oliver, we needed to make sure that he was calm in any situation, no matter if it was in the city, in a house, or in the hospital. So we worked a lot on exposing him to a variety of distractions and having him be calm no matter what, and to be able to focus while he was working. So living in Chicago worked out well enough for that, because there's plenty up here to work on even outside my front door.
I got Oliver back in April, and I was admitted into the hospital a few weeks later. I don't know how long later, like a month later maybe. And he did amazing in the hospital. It was his first time staying inpatient with me, and he adjusted like it was normal life. He's like, oh, there's beeping, no big deal. Oh, random people coming in our room, no big deal. So, thank you.
That's great.
Why can't I pet a service dog?
One of the most frequently asked questions that service dog handlers receive is, why can't I pet your dog? You will often see a service dog wearing a harness that says somewhere on it, do not pet. The reason for this is not because they are unfriendly, not because they will bite you, not because we are mean handlers and don't want to have you touch this precious thing, but really because the dog is working. We need Oliver in tune with Mary at every moment that he is working. If her blood sugar begins to drop, we need him to alert as soon as possible. And if he is being pet by many random people in a store, he is not going to be as likely to pick up as quickly as if he's able to just focus. Mm-hmm. He is still a dog, and if you come up to a service dog and say, oh my goodness, you sweet little thing, and you just get in his face, you get so excited, his tail starts wagging, his excitement level goes up, and
he's not a robot.
He's not a robot. He still is a dog,
yeah.
And if you treat him like that, he is less inclined to be in tune with Mary.
Yeah.
And especially early on in his training, any little distraction like that took a long time to get him back in tune.
Right.
And now, as time goes on, he's much better at that, because
Yeah.
to some degree, there will always be people that even just put their hand out as he's walking by to try to touch him, but it's distracting to him as he's working. So if you see a service dog, feel free to smile and look at them, but you can always ask. You can always ask, can I come pet your dog? There are times when it is just my pleasure, when I had him, to allow someone to pet Oliver.
Yeah.
And had a lot of fun conversations that way as well. But there are also times when handling a service dog in public is exhausting.
Yeah.
And so if ever you feel as though the handler is being rude, they're not.
Yeah.
They might have just been asked 50 times in a row in one aisle of the grocery store, can we pet your dog? Can we pet your dog? What kind of dog is it? Is that a real dog?
Yeah.
All these questions. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
So if the handler just doesn't even make eye contact and doesn't smile at you and keeps walking, just give them grace. Maybe they're just having trouble breathing that day.
Yeah.
It's fine. They're adorable. Snap a picture. But you don't have to ask a million questions.
And it's hard because before I knew much about service dogs, I remember thinking, wow, that is so cool, because it is, and the dogs are beautiful or adorable or whatever. But now that I understand the service dog world, being a service dog handler, I understand why we don't go up to a random dog and just start petting it. Like, it needs to stay focused, and it's doing its job. So there you go, guys. I hope we answered most of your questions. And thank you for all of your hard work making Oliver the amazing dog he is today. I am just so grateful to say that I now have my own cystic fibrosis service dog.
It's so awesome. Yeah. It's been a real long time since Mary's visited me in my unit in Chicago, and I live on the 3rd floor of a walk-up. And I remember one time that you came over, probably in college, and you said, do you think it would ever be possible for me to have a service dog and pull me up these stairs? Because she was like, I was helping drag her up the stairs. And I was like, well, maybe. I don't know what that would look like. Well, now, years later, and today Ollie just pulled her up the stairs, and there was no coughing even when you got up the stairs. I mean, this happened. You have a service dog.
And I'm so thankful.
It's so cool.
If you guys are interested in finding out more about life with a service dog, we have Oliver's whole story written on our website. We'll have the link down in the description, and we do new videos every day, and Oliver is the main character in many of those videos. So if you're interested, hit the subscribe button, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. See you later. No, don't say see you later. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for being here today. Okay, perfect. Thanks.